All right, if you run a fitness studio, you'd know the feeling, right? Money's always going out. But trying to figure out exactly where it's all going, well, that can be a massive headache. So today, we're going to tackle one of the most tedious tasks out there, expense categorization. And I'm going to show you how to put it on autopilot. So, how long does this usually take? Well, on average, studio owners are spending 45 minutes every single month just classifying transactions. Think about that. 45 minutes of just clicking, sorting, and second-guessing yourself. That's time you could be using to grow your community or, actually coach your clients. Let's just put it side by side, the old way versus the new way. The old way, it's a total slog, right? You're exporting from QuickBooks, manually tagging hundreds of lines in some spreadsheet, messing with pivot tables, and poof, there goes 45 minutes of your life every single month. The new way? It does the whole thing in seconds. The AI does all the heavy lifting for you. I mean, the difference is just night and day. But look, this isn't just about getting some time back. The real cost of doing all this manually is actually way steeper than a few lost hours. We're talking about hidden costs here, the kind that really hits your bottom line. Okay, let's break it down. You're losing about 9 hours a year doing this. Now, let's be conservative and say your time is worth $100 an hour. That's $900 just gone, straight out of your pocket. And then you've got the errors. A simple miscategorization can mean you're making incorrect tax deductions, maybe even overpaying on your taxes. And honestly, maybe the worst part is you're missing huge opportunities because you just don't see those financial red flags until it's way, way too late. And some of these pain points are so specific to fitness studios. I mean, think about equipment maintenance, your treadmills, your rowers, your bikes. They're gonna break. It just happens. You could be spending anywhere from $800 to $1,500 a month on repairs. But because those costs are scattered all over the place, you never see the trend. You don't even realize you're just bleeding cash on a machine that you probably should have replaced ages ago. Oh, and this one is huge, music licensing. So many studios just play a personal Spotify account, and they don't even realize they're actually violating copyright law. The fines for that? They can go up to $30,000. No joke. So that little $26 a month Spotify business subscription you forgot to categorize, yeah, that could be masking a massive, massive financial risk. Marketing spend is another really tricky one. You know how Facebook and Google just auto-charge your card? Well, those expenses can feel totally invisible until you get the bill at the end of the month. And then you've got the classic mix-up between retail inventory, supplements, apparel, and just your basic operating supplies. One is your cost of goods sold, the direct cost of stuff you sell, and the other is a general expense. If you confuse those two, you get a completely warped view of how profitable your studio actually is. So what should you even be aiming for? Well, here are the general industry benchmarks. Typically, rent should be about 15 to 25% of your total expenses, and payroll somewhere between 35 and 45%. So, how does your studio stack up? The truth is, most owners have no idea because their data is just a mess. But knowing these numbers, that's the very first step to getting real financial control. Okay, so we've definitely laid out the problems. Now, let's talk about the solution. This is where we leave that manual headache behind and move into getting truly automated insight. You remember that 45 minutes we talked about earlier? We are going to absolutely crush that down to just 90 seconds. Seriously, 90 seconds is all it takes to get a complete, accurate, and genuinely insightful breakdown of all your studio's expenses. And the process couldn't be simpler. It's really just 3 steps. First, you ask a question, just using plain English. Second, the AI takes your question and translates it into all the technical code that talks to your accounting software. And third, you get your results, all clean and categorized. The best part, you never, ever have to touch a single line of code. And listen, when I say plain English, I really mean it. You can literally just type something like, show me where I'm spending the most money this month, and break it down by fitness studio expense categories. It's that simple. It's like you're just talking to an assistant. Now, of course, behind the curtain, there's some pretty complex stuff happening. The AI is making API calls, it's querying all your transaction data, and it's running it through a classification logic that's been built specifically for fitness studios. But the beauty of it all is, you never have to see or manage any of that. It just works. All right, let's look at a real-world example to make this a little more tangible. We're going to use a hypothetical studio, we'll call it Peak Performance Fitness, and see how this whole process turns that raw data into actual smart business decisions.
So here's their expense analysis for January. Remember, in just 90 seconds, they got this complete breakdown. We can see right away that payroll is their biggest expense at 38.4%, which is right in that healthy range. Rent's at 21.1%, also looking pretty good. But then, take a look down at equipment maintenance, 5.6%. That's starting to creep up there.
So, this is the crucial part. What the AI flags for you automatically. It spots that rising equipment maintenance cost, and it even notes that $650 was spent on just 3 treadmill repairs. It also flags that, hey, while their marketing spend is decent, there's zero attribution tracking. So they're spending money, but they have no idea what's actually working. And this is where it all comes together. Those red flags are instantly converted into a super clear action plan. The data is literally telling them, get a replacement quote for that old treadmill instead of just pouring more money into repairs. It's also saying, set up a Facebook pixel right now to start tracking your ad conversions. See? These aren't vague suggestions. They're specific, data-driven instructions on what to do next. So, how can you do this for your own studio? Let's wrap this all up with a simple 3-step action plan that'll get you started on the path to financial clarity, like today. It really is this easy. First, run the analysis using one of those simple English prompts. Second, compare your results to those industry benchmarks we talked about and find your biggest opportunities. And third, and this is important, just take one small action. Don't try to fix everything at once. Just pick one thing, maybe calling a vendor to negotiate a better rate, and just do it today. And that really brings us to the final question, doesn't it? Over the course of a year, this whole process can save you at least 9 hours of boring manual work and help you find thousands in potential savings. We're talking typically around $9,500 for a studio like yours. So the real question is, what would you do with all that extra time and money? Now that's the real power of turning your data into actual decisions.